Can you tell us your name?
Robert Penton, the fourth.
And can you give us a little overview of what happened?
No.
You remember what happened, Robert?
I don't remember.
Mom, do you want to tell us a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, he was involved in a car accident on December 7th, early morning. He was driving too fast. It was the first rain, December 6th, it rained all night. And he hit a patch of black ice, lost control, went through a fence, a light post, and upended into a tree. We got the call, I guess maybe 20 or 30 minutes after it happened, we went to Turlock. And by the time we got there, it still took first responders, there were over 30, took them an hour and a half still to get him out of the car. He got meta-flighted to Doctors Medical Center. The first report that it was that he's not going to make it. But they didn't realize on the scene that they sedated him. So they just thought he was completely unresponsive. Then the next report we got was that he is slightly responsive, but that he tore his aorta and needed to go for emergency surgery. So the surgery lasted, I want to say, a couple hours, and then that was okay. He ended up with the torn aorta. He broke his femur in his left leg, and he suffered traumatic brain injury, severe traumatic brain injury. So today, his aorta's been repaired. We don't have any issues with that right now. His femur still gives him a lot of pain just because as his brain is turning on, he's hypersensitive to pain. And this kind of pain, that's a lot of pain for you and I. And for him, suffering from his brain condition, it's just excruciating for him when he tries to bear weight or anything. I remember when we were at Doctors, he also developed ARDS. He got pneumonia and then developed acute respiratory distress syndrome, and he almost died 3 times. The doctor, I remember, pulled me into the conference room and told me that he would be on a ventilator for the rest of his life. And I told him that he was still in the coma. And I told the doctor, like, I know that my son's going to be okay. I feel it. I just know. And he said, well, I have a 2-year-old son, and I'm just letting you know that I wouldn't want him to live a life like that on a ventilator for the rest of his life. And I told him, well, this is my son, and I think he's going to get better, so I want you to keep treating him. And he said, well, his organs are going to start shutting down, and then he's going to die. And I told him, well, then that's how he'll die. I said, keep treating him. So the next day, he released him to Kaiser, which is our insurance company. So I don't know if he washed his hands of me or what, but, I just thank God that I knew that he was going to be okay. I mean, every second was different. It was hard. It was tough, but we had a lot of support. For the first 3 weeks of his of this accident, we didn't even know if he was going to make it. It took 3 weeks to get him stable. It was difficult, but I mean, thank God for Facebook and that social media, because that's kind of what kept me going, and all his friends and my family and our friends, but it was hard. Every day it was a roller coaster. It still is, but in the early stages, in the first couple months, it was just up and down. I'd have really bad days. I'd have really, and all my days depended on how his day went, and so sometimes I'd be desperate in my posts, and sometimes I'd be uplifted in my posts, like everything's gonna be okay, and then sometimes like, please God, don't take my baby. And it was just an emotional roller coaster. I've aged like 20 years in the last 4 months. So, but things are definitely look up now. And even so today, he just continues getting better every day. I mean, on January 15th is when we moved to San Jose to Valley Medical Center rehab unit, and all he could do at that point, just the day before, he started turning his head back and forth. And that was just a couple months ago, and look at him now. And every day he's getting better. So I believe that he's going to make a remarkable recovery. He's getting better physically. He's getting better cognitively. Every single day is something new that we notice.
Tell us about what happened that night that led to it as far as the racing went. Do you know many details?
Yeah, I do. I don't have this is not like documented details, but you know what I've heard is that him and a couple of his friends were at Turlock. He was supposed to stay at Denair at his friend's house. They went to a party at Turlock where everybody was drinking. The three boys went home, but one of the kids' girlfriends stayed at the party. She ended up calling early in the morning, like I guess 3:30 in the morning, saying, you know, they're kicking me out of here. I need to ride home. And so his friend was drinking. He didn't want him to drive. So he decided, you know, I'll take you over there to go pick her up. So they went and picked her up, and this happened on the way back. And my theory is because his other friend, you know, when they're young like this with their little Hondas, and they like to follow each other, like nobody rides together. So the other friend was riding with him. Thank God, his best friend was riding with him and saw everything. So I'm kind of thinking maybe they were, you know, like, hey, you know, who knows? But that's just kind of what I think, because he made no bones about he likes to go fast, you know. So I knew that he was doing it, but thankfully he was behind him and saw the whole thing and was able to get on the phone immediately, because, you know, who knows what could have happened. It was already at least 2 hours. He was out there stuck in his car in the tree. So yeah, so that's what I think. That's just the story that I heard. I don't know if that's completely true.
How has this affected you?
Well, I mean, all of our lives have changed dramatically, but you know, it's such a devastating thing that I would think, like, if I was on the outside looking in, I'd be like, oh my God, that poor woman, you know. But it's just it's humbled me, you know. I feel so blessed. I just feel blessed. I mean, I had posted the other day, not that I would have chosen this for my family, but this is just what's been chosen for us. And you can sit and cry about it, or you can do what you got to do and try to make the best of it. And I think that's just kind of what's gotten us through. Our family support from the school, support from people we don't even know. This whole community has just pulled together, and it's just been amazing. And I think that he maybe felt all that energy too and kind of fought harder, you know. So yeah, it's that going fast, you know. So I'm hoping that he will eventually, once he gets better, we'll go to high schools and talk to kids about racing, and because it's an epidemic and all these kids are doing it. And I never paid much attention before, but after his accident, I hear it all the time. This person's dead. This family's life is destroyed because these two were racing, and one is killed, or one is, you know, ends up in a life-altering situation like this. And the kids think that they're invincible, and there's got to be some kind of message here, some reason that he's here to tell his story and hopefully get through to his peers about how dangerous it is, and they're not invincible.
Do you have any messages for student drivers?
I'm gonna say, follow the rules.
Follow the rules.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good message. Yeah.
Mom, any messages for student drivers after all this happened?
Yeah, just slow down. You know, slow down. Driving is not meant to be fun. You know what I mean? It gets you from point A to point B. And, you know, it says it in all the handbooks, and we were told when we were younger, driving is a privilege. Driving is a privilege, you know. I don't know if he'll ever drive again, you know, because he didn't, you know, he wasn't responsible with his driving. Just be responsible, because it's not only yourself that you can hurt. You can hurt your whole family. You can hurt somebody else, some innocent person. It's just not worth it. It's not worth your lives.